The other day, Deanna, I had someone ask a very interesting and intriguing question. He said, after reviewing the first presentation in this series, he found I to be a very interesting person, but he had a question. And his question was, are the children who advance the catastrophes upon the melanin-encoded populations of the planet, are they being condemned and not included within the higher peace conscious resurrection of man, he and she?
As the pendulum swings, the alarm clock rings. Wake up, soul. The soul of green earth, solar conscious offspring. Wake up the soul, green earth, solar conscious offspring. Wake up.
And his question was, are the children who advance the catastrophes upon the melanin-encoded populations of the planet, are they being condemned and not included within the higher peace conscious resurrection of man, he and she? Leon and I could not help but look at the being and give him a smile and say, listen, first and foremost, be clear and aware that it is not each and every child of the sun who lost their melanin-encoded tan that can be condemned for the attitudes, values, behaviors, and beliefs of the central focus master warlord.
Look, listen, learn, discern. Be with this cycle of the great return. The sun is on its J-O-B, melting down the white blight mentality. White, yellow, red, brown, black, calling all the scattered pieces back.
Shh. Quiet your mind. Tune into this holistic living message of the sacred ancestral Ethiopian Kemetic Naga priesthood who continue to be so wise. Be advised, as the heat of the sun continue to rise and the ice thaws, turning frozen snow into waterfalls. Be advised.
Wake up, like you saved may be your own time to come home to the inner zone. Turn this earth safe tidal wave.
Be advised. Supreme truth shall reinstall divine order into one and all who answers Ma'at's higher peace, green earth solar conscious call.
White, yellow, red, brown, black, calling all the scattered pieces back. All that rises does indeed lead to the melanin encoded family tree seed, where it's not about the color of one's skin, but about the state of consciousness one live within. We talking soulful essence, my kin.
We're talking the resurrection of green earth solar souls beyond the physical characteristics and traits of skin, hair, and eyes, the various strategies and lies used to devise ways and means to continue to fuel and feed the lust and greed of the monotheistic warlord creed, indeed led by the war god Set, the Kemetic lower and lesser child of regret. And its fit is not done yet, as the erosion and corrosion continues and continues until there's a massive implosion.
It's just a surface identity. Gotta look deep within, deeper than skin. Open our eyes.
You see, according to ancient prophecy, melanin will determine humanity's destiny and absolute necessity in a green earth solar reality. Universal law exposed the flaw as the pale mental mindset begins to thaw. Divine order shows the cons and the pros of mental encodes diametrically opposed to the melanin encoded souls, children of the sun. And when all is said and done, white supremacy be public enemy number one.
Many things have happened, many circumstances, many events that have been prophetically told time and time again. The problem is, most of the time, children continue to be disconnected from eldership
Greek philosopher Plato recounted this telling about one of the 7 great wise men of Greece named Solon, who went to Kemet to learn from the sacred ancestral Kemetic Naga priesthood. "Oh, Solon, Solon, you Greeks are never anything but children, and there's not an old man among you." Solon in return asked him what he meant. "I mean to say," he replied, "that in mind you are all young. There is no old opinion handed down among you by ancient tradition. There have been and will be again many destructions of mankind, arising out of many causes. The greatest have been brought about by the agencies of fire and water, and other lesser ones by innumerable other causes. They have all been written down by us of old, and are preserved in our temples. Whereas just when you and other nations are beginning to be provided with letters and the other requisites of civilized life, after the usual interval, the stream from heaven like a pestilence comes pouring down and leaves only those of you who are destitute of letters and education, and so you have to begin all over again like children." End of quote. Page 271, Banu Book 1.
Most of the time, children continue to be disconnected from eldership, continue to make mistakes over and over and over and over again because he or she did not know. No one told he or she so. Or simply because of a disconnection due to destruction, self-destruction, destruction of brain, body, and spiritual connection to the essence of who we be as soul-infused beings. Listen.
Domination, the language of the papal bulls.
The Dum Divarsis is a papal bull, a special decree by the Pope, issued by Pope Nicholas V in 1452 that is credited by some as ushering in the West African slave trade. The Dum Divarsis provided, quote, "We grant you by these present documents with our apostolic authority full and free permission to invade, search out, capture, and subjugate the Saracens and pagans and any other unbelievers and enemies of Christ wherever they may be, as well as their kingdoms, duchies, counties, principalities, and other property, and to reduce their persons into perpetual slavery." Page 230, Banu Book 1.
The theme of domination is found in various Vatican documents from the 15th century. For example, in the Papal Bull of May 4th of 1493, Pope Alexander VI says that it is pleasing to the Divine Majesty that barbarous nations be subjugated. The Latin word is deprimantur, which means to reduce, to cast down or press down, to hold down, and it also states that it is pleasing to the Divine Majesty for the Christian empire to be propagated. Pope Alexander VI stated, "We trust in him, from whom empires and dominations and all good things proceed." The Holy See of the Catholic Church issued many such documents even before 1493. For example, in 1452, Pope Nicholas V issued a directive to King Alfonso of Portugal to go to the western coast of Africa and to invade, capture, vanquish, and subdue all Saracens, pagans, and other enemies of Christ, to reduce their persons to perpetual slavery, and to take away all their possessions and property. That directive was reissued in 1455, 1456, 1481, 1493, 1506, and 1514. What these documents demonstrate, though, in terms of the language that was used, is the pattern or the paradigm of domination and dehumanization. When you take the root of colonize, you have colon, which is the digestive tract of the body politic that is coming in invasively into the lands and territories of indigenous nations and peoples. And that colonizing, digesting activity makes that predator body politic a devouring, consuming body that's coming in invasively on top of the original nations and peoples.
Isfet, the devourer, the eater of souls, the destroyer, the energy of injustice, chaos, violence, decay, and decadence. In symbolic, holistic language, the Kemetic Asarian Naga priesthood clearly describes the God or energy or spirit or nature of consciousness that opposes Ma'at, divine order. And that nature of energy is called Isfit.
Take time and evaluate the nature of energy of whomever you're putting your trust, your faith, your sense of focus on. Because clearly, precisely, beyond the shadow of a doubt, there are two different natures of energy. Divine order or toxic reality. We must understand supreme truth or self-deified fallacy. And within that, there has to be a comprehension that there's a clear line that divides the two. Within toxic disorder, self is the almighty, omnipotent God of that order. So he declared. And as such, he has proven by the nature of his thought as energy to be the mighty God of war, the God of conflict, confusion, and chaos, the master of deceptions. He who has the ability to confuse the entire planet or the majority thereof. This is what has happened.
Isfit has many agents, representatives, disciples, and followers, such as Apophis, Apep, the serpent of chaos, Set, god of war, storms, destruction, and foreign lands, Amit, who sits by Ma'at's scale, waiting to devour the heart of any soul who cannot pass the test of supreme truth.
Now, although the Asarian nature of higher peace consciousness is a very small element within the wholeness of our universal presence upon this earth, it is the holistic living presence that will maintain and forward the soulful essence of humanity. We must comprehend that this is a time for reasoning, for looking, listening, learning, discerning what we're dealing with. It becomes clear if we can use our common sense reasoning, if we could just simply look at the thing by its nature of energy. It is so easy and simple to know who you're dealing with, what you're dealing with, what the purpose is, and why it's so prominent in your consciousness, or why it is being forced into a prominent place in your existence. Because it diametrically opposes the divine, natural, and innate state of your presence as a green earth solar conscious being. We must make sure that we give all the love and attention that we can to Mother Earth and all living things thereof. We must honor and respect the higher peace conscious nature. Anything that goes opposite of that should become very clear in your mental consciousness that it is of another nature of energy.
Time to release the mark of the beast, that beastly nature of the predator mind, that hunt and herd and continue the crime, to slaughter and enslave from the crib to the grave. Remember, we talking earth save, and the life you save may be your own. Time to come home to the inner zone. Look, listen, learn, discern. Be with this cycle of the great return. The sun is on its J-O-B, melting down the white blight mentality. White, yellow, red, brown, black, calling all the scattered pieces back.
Clearly and beyond the shadow of a doubt that we're within a deep-seated spiritual war, and that war is not the soul attacking self, but rather self attacking the holistic living nature of soul, because self feels isolated, individualized, self-asserted, outside of the holistic living reasoning, because it refuses to humble to divine order. Therefore, it should be easy to see and comprehend that if in fact there is God, we're not talking about no God of all existence unless we're talking about the holistic living presence. And if we talk about the holistic living presence, we do not even speak in that way or manner. We get very humble and realize that we are part and parcel of the puzzle. and that our divine, natural, and innate duty, obligation, responsibility is to uphold and maintain the principles of Ma'at. If we begin to comprehend that there is that declaration of an almighty, omnipotent God of war, vengeance, it is true. We must comprehend that there was, and there is, and there remains a God who on a blood spill and the thrill of the kill. That is truth. We must comprehend its fit, and that the battle is its fit against the principles of Ma'at. If we can get these simple Kemetic terms comprehended, we will comprehend a mighty, mighty, mighty bit of information that needs to be comprehended in order for you to focus your energy on resurrecting the green, earth, solar, soul presence of who you be. What the I say is this: we're all in this together, like it or not. And the warlord, and that mentality of war, that mentality of a jealous God, a monotheistic nature of envy and greed, will destroy us all.
In 1492, in what has been called the Age of Discovery, imperialism, the continuation of invasion, conquest, enslavement, and colonization, we're told Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue and discovered populations in the New World. Christopher Columbus states in his own words, "So tractable, so peaceable are these people, I swear to your majesties there is not in the world a better nation. They love their neighbors as themselves, and their discourse is ever sweet and gentle and accompanied with a smile." Page 228, Banu Book 1, by High Priest Guatemani. In his journals, Columbus wrote of the peaceful, generous nature of the Taino people. He noted their language did not have a word for war. He named them Indios and referred to the Taino people as children of God. But he also wrote, "I could conquer the whole of them with 50 men and govern them as I please." Page 229, Banu Book 1.
Doing this earth save tidal wave, let's change the page on the ice age when glaciers were seen in regions once green, leaving only the equator zone where the sun still shone, there where the first family of humanity was grown in our tropical rainforest jungle home. But the human heart did harden outside the garden, cold and freezing tears as the grim reaper nears.
Now the question is, what does this mean for you and for me? The collapse of the glacier will have a devastating impact on global sea levels.
Be with this cycle of the great return. The sun is on its J-O-B, melting down the fight flight mentality.
Thwaites Glacier is massive. It is roughly the size of Great Britain or Florida, and its melting speed has been slowly increasing over the past 30 years. It is currently releasing about 50 billion tons of ice into the ocean each year.
In the misery of fright and fears, some give in to their fate while others take cover and hibernate. Tribes and clans did migrate. Some moved a little too late. Climate changing mishaps, systematic collapse. Basic needs went unmet. Could not find or get no food, water, or sun. Yet no safety in a net.
The reality is, one is the sum total of the nature of energy that one consumes. Divine order or toxic reality. Supreme truth or self-deified fallacy. One encoded to empower the soul. The other self-centered empowered to dominate, rule, and control the mindset. We have to comprehend that. Once we can get that comprehended, we can begin a holistic living emergence that has been interrupted and interfered with by those focused on their self-centered capital gain over all things.
Time to release the mark of the beast, that beastly nature of the predator mind, that hunt and herd and continue the crime, to slaughter and enslave from the crib to the grave.
If you doubt what I say, let's look at it another way. What nature of energy would a warlord use and choose to lead him in battle? What would he use to perpetuate his conquest, domination, and rule? Would it be the energy of a god of war, vengeance, blood spill, and the thrill of the kill? Or would it be a God of higher peace, harmony, a God that would perpetuate love and respect to our neighbor, and would be of a caring nature about Mother Nature and all living things thereof, because his objective as a God would be like a green God, a God of harmony and unity. Which nature would he use? And if you look clearly and sincerely, you will know, hear, comprehend, and understand what we have been facing, the nature that is indeed in control of our plight, that's leading into, as it has been said by that God's second Genesis nature, that is being led to self-destruction, self, the nature of that God. Individualistic, monotheistic in its nature. Domination, control, and rule is the venture of that vibration.
Bitter cold, rage and hate, and the stuff they ate did mutate that DNA trait. Genetic fallout in an all-out struggle against the odds. These are not gods, but fallen branches. Can't just let them be. False claims of supremacy. Neanderthal ain't all that suffered the fall. All alone, their bloodstained trail. Children of the ice were under a cold mental spell. Worshipping the gods and goddesses of hell. Spreading their right to do wrong. All alone, the Fertile Crescent solar zone. Babylon, Greece, Rome. On into lands known to be unknown. Taking claim in Jesus' name. Land grab game, enslavement pain. Ran through Portugal and Spain. Built bound bang.
The pendulum swing.
An implosion, Armageddon, the end of time is where it is going. And you're following it if you're standing in line. Whether you are the leading or perpetuate your being as being the leading process, or whether you are those who integrate it, assimilate, and adopt, trying to be a carbon copy of that lower and lesser nature of energy, disguised behind that self-asserted individualistic nature where you feel that you have a right to do as you will, forgetting the will of divine order.
So it was, so it again come to be. Divine consumption, fruit of the tree. Divine union, he and she biologically. Forwarding divine multiplication. Every offspring and vibration of this green earth solar conscious incantation. Yeah.